The sports... No, it's not the Sports Talkers. It's now the Chill Zone. And I'm David Heller, and this, as always, is Donovan Scalco. Oh.
Yes, it is me.
Donnie, I can't help but figure out which one is more laughable. The Commanders hiring Dan Quinn, or the fact that the Commanders may have blown up Jerry Jones's plans to go all in on 2024 for the Dallas Cowboys. I can't help but to figure it out, but we will right here and right now.
More local, more meaningful. This is News 9.
And yes, still waiting on that new intro for our new series. So, Michael Foy, if you're watching, let us know when you have that ready to go. But yes, it is episode 0. Episode 0 of the Chill Zone. Of course, I'm David. He's Donnie. And this is a reformatted podcast that, yes, we will still talk sports, but it is going to be expanded because now we're adding in other things that we both have, in some cases, common interest in. Game shows will be one of them. Of course, Donnie, you being interested in wrestling, you know, we can get into that. Weather, I'm interested in that, so I will, of course, talk about that as well. And then, of course, we're going to be introducing a new segment that I know Donnie has a series of his own, which we'll talk about that shortly. But first, topic numero uno is going to be the Washington Commanders and Dan Quinn. They hired Dan Quinn. Donnie and I, we were just chatting about this privately, and Donnie, I can't help but wonder. I don't know what's laughable to us. Is it the fact that the Commanders hired Dan Quinn, who is known for choking a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, or the fact that the Commanders ruined Jerry Jones's plans of going all in on 2024 in Dallas? I don't know what's laughable.
I would have to say Dan Quinn.
One with Dan Quinn. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Your audio must have cut out or something. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I think Dan Quinn getting hired to Washington is the biggest joke because they need a quarterback, and lo and behold, the quarterback is going to get ruined.
Yep. But I think also another one of the bigger jokes is that just before we came on the air, I was watching, of course, Sports Center, and according to Adam Schefter and others, the Dallas Cowboys is going to talk to former Commanders head coach Ron Rivera for the defensive coordinator position. You're going to talk to Ron Rivera, Jerry Jones? What are you doing? Because
I just don't know.
Because, let's see, I don't know. Ron Rivera in Washington, not a very good defensive coordinator when he took over midway through the season. both of those hires to me are just a joke. And for me, I'm just glad I got out of the Cowboys fandom club when I could. I'm just glad, Donnie, I got out there when I did.
Yes, you are.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, honestly, to me, both players are just complete jokes. I really don't know what both clubs are doing other than they're just going to ensure that the NFC East streak of different champions, different division champions continues next season. I know that. Because, I don't know, let's be stupid in Washington and hire Dan Quinn from Dallas, while in Dallas, on the other hand, let's be stupid and hire Ron Rivera, who used to coach in Washington.
Talk about a switch.
Yes, talk about a switch of probably two of the worst coaches in the NFL. Both going
Made, just made David Tepper. You just made David Tepper and Dave Canales look like geniuses.
Which that's saying something a lot, because David Tepper is basically the new Dan Snyder in terms of being the worst owners in the National Football League. So the fact that you can make David Tepper look like a genius, yeah, that's bad. That is absolutely bad. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I don't have great confidence in Dan Quinn in Washington, and if the Cowboys hire Ron Rivera, oh boy, it may be a long season down there in Dallas next year defensively, knowing the way Ron Rivera coaches. Ugh. Now, for the first time, we are introducing a new topic called wrestling. And Donnie, I think you have some news on CM Punk that we were talking about earlier in the week. Anything new on
it looks like CM Punk may miss WrestleMania after all, and not only that, Drew McIntyre was so happy it happened. CM Punk says he wants to rehab us. He could actually make it in time. It's WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. He could make a quick recovery on that torn triceps. Be in pain, but he wants to come after Drew McIntyre when he comes back.
Yeah, but just think about torn triceps. I don't know if you can recover that quick from a torn triceps, but I'm sure CM Punk is going to probably try to recover from it and maybe be a full go at it at WrestleMania. But I know this. I think it's going to be difficult to recover from it, because you can't really recover in just that short span, because when is WrestleMania? A couple weeks, a month, something like that.
WrestleMania. For WrestleMania 40 is April 6th and 8th. April
6th through the 8th. Okay, so basically this is in April. So I think CM Punk can probably make a decent recovery in time, because we're just beginning February today as of this recording, and then you still have March to go, and then of course April. So I'd say CM Punk might be able to make a full recovery then by that particular point. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And now we are introducing also a new segment. A segment, Donnie, that I know you are so familiar with. And by the way, if you haven't checked out his Song Story series, I would highly recommend you check it out. And of course, Donna can tell you more about it. But we are introducing new segment, Song Stories. What song story do we have for today, Donna?
Exactly. For my upcoming episodes of Donovan's Rockin' Song Stories, Chicago, and many more coming up. Let me start off with some John Mellencamp stories.
Okay.
This will be part of my next episode, which will be in maybe a week or so. I've just been very quiet on it ever since my account was hacked.
Ugh.
Pink Houses, one of the great closers of Mellencamp's concerts. John Mellencamp is from the rural town of Seymour, Indiana, and often writes about the American experience. His songs are sometimes misinterpreted as patriotic anthems, when a deeper listen reveals lyrics that deal with challenges of living in America as well as the triumphs. Mellencamp has expressed his love for his country, but has also criticized the U.S. government for going to war in Iraq, developing a dependency on foreign oil, and not. It's really an anti-American song, Mellencamp told Rolling Stone about Pink Houses. The American dream had pretty much proven itself as not working anymore. It was another way for me to sneak something in. Inspiration for this song came when Mellencamp was driving on I-65 in Indianapolis. As described in the first verse, he saw a black man sitting on a lawn chair just watching the road. The image stuck with Mellencamp, who wasn't sure if the man should be pitied because he was desolate. It's just a snippet of my upcoming episode.
Ooh. So there you have it. That's basically your preview of Donovan's upcoming episode of Rocking Song Stories, which you can check that out on, I believe, your YouTube channel, along with all the other podcast platforms like Spotify. What else are you on? I know you're on Spotify last time I checked. What else are you on with your Song Stories pod?
That's basically it. A
Spotify.
couple rare. Sometimes I'll be able to post on Twitter or Instagram. I haven't used Instagram in a while, but
yeah,
Facebook and Spotify are my main sources.
Sure.
And I sometimes post some odes on YouTube.
Yeah. And yep, that definitely check those out as well. When you when your listeners out there get a chance, it is on Spotify. You can check out Donovan's Song Stories Facebook page. Of course, he's on Facebook as well. And you're on Instagram as well, because I think I followed you recently on Instagram too. But you can check that out, and a number of different platforms. Next topic: a Wheel of Fortune contestant. Let's just say we got some controversy on Wheel of Fortune. Apparently, a contestant named Megan Carville didn't quite came up with the answer pink orchid in time. Or did she? What do you think, Donnie? Did you get a chance to see that episode? And if so, did do you believe she got it in on time, or did the buzzer beat her?
What's the puzzle? What's the puzzle?
The puzzle was Pink Orchid, and the category in the bonus
Pink
round
Orchid.
was Living Thing. Yeah.
Let's see it.
Let me see. Let me see if I got the clip up. Yeah. First of all, we got this ad to get through, so I do apologize for this, folks, but of course we get this. Oh, great! It's an annoying Jardiance ad. Ugh. Oh, I know. I'll tell you this, Donnie. I know some of my friends who probably listen to this podcast is just as annoyed about Jardiance as I am. Ugh.
Let me hear it first. Be quiet so I can hear it. I can't hear it.
I think we're coming up on it now. Oh,
I think they thought they heard Pink. They quietly, like faintly, say something orchid. I think she said something. The word "some" was just muted out. It looked like she said something.
Yeah.
So I'd say she missed it.
Yeah. So basically, the buzzer beat out or beat her out. Makes sense. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but yeah, even I could probably figure out that. Yeah, I would say the buzzer did beat her out. So, unfortunately, yeah, that puzzle was not solved. It was not solved. And quite frankly, this is where we get into a boring week in terms of sports action, because we don't have much football going on. Although we do have the Senior Bowl going on, we do have the Pro Bowl going on. I know there's let's see, an NHL All-Star game going on this weekend over on ABC. But yeah, let's look at the Senior Bowl first. If there's like a player or two that we should keep an eye out on, who are those players that we need to keep an eye on in the Senior Bowl in terms of, maybe potentially improving their draft stock for the upcoming NFL draft, Donnie?
Go to Senior Bowl coverage right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's rumors here.
Okay.
Aaron Cooper is on the rise for Texas A&M. He accepted an invitation to the East-West Shrine game, but he pulled out last minute. James Williams is shifting to linebacker from safety. Talies Fuaga. Quinyon Mitchell, the Toledo corner. I don't see really much going on between the running backs, or the quarterbacks. Most people are, recently I've seen focus on Joe Milton and Spencer Rattler. Spencer had the best practice at. I would definitely love to see either one of them get a sleeper second day pick. I know Spencer Rattler's going to be second day.
Yeah. Rattler for sure is probably going to be second day pick for sure. I know some of those guys may be sleeper picks, but I would say as somebody who is now, I will go ahead and say this unofficially. Now next week, Super Bowl week, I will make this official. But as a new Denver Broncos fan, which by the way, that was the team that I made the choice over the Packers and the Saints, and I'll get to that here in a second. But as a new Broncos fan, I'm really eyeing on the quarterback position the most, because the Broncos are probably going to get rid of Russell Wilson at some point. Obviously, they benched him late in the season, of course. So, honestly, I'm going to keep an eye on, I'd say, 3 quarterbacks. Bo Nix from Oregon, J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, and then Michael Penix Jr. of Washington.
Finally, he's out of college.
Yep, exactly. So, I'm on those 3 because I think there's a chance that the Broncos may take either Penix Jr., McCarthy, or Bo Nix. Although I think some of those mock drafts probably have the Broncos taking Bo Nix. And obviously, this will probably be something that we'll dive more into probably within the first couple weeks after the Super Bowl, is these mock drafts. We'll definitely talk some more about that. But I think some of the mock drafts may have Bo Nix going to Denver. So, that could be an option there. But that's really the main thing that I'm really eyeing on the most, because for one thing, I'm switching over to the Broncos, and I'll tell you why I'm switching over to the Broncos, and then we'll get into the Pro Bowl stuff. One of the reasons why I'm switching over to the Denver Broncos is because of family ties. Some of you might not know this, but I have family that lives in Colorado. So, being that Oklahoma does not have an NFL team, whereas Florida, where Donnie is at, they do. So, basically, it kind of goes where you got the local, teams of interest. So, in this case, Cowboys, Chiefs, duh. But then you also have family ties. And in this case, my family, of course being in Colorado, is Broncos fans. So that meant that even the Chiefs, who is a local team, by the way, got nixed out because of the fact that the Chiefs play in the same division as the Broncos does, which is the AFC West. So basically, local ties, local teams of interest, that, that was already nixed out. So I ended up going with family, signing with family ties. And in this case, having family in Colorado, I ended up picking the Broncos over the Packers and the Saints. And, Broncos is one of those teams that I kind of cheered for as a kid, but I really wasn't into football at the time. And also back then, my dad got me this. It's a Broncos keychain right here. And I've had this.
It looks more like a lanyard.
Yeah. But I've had that in my office for a long time. I just never pulled it out because I was a Cowboys fan until, I made some comments about, how the fans deserved, the loss in the wild card round. And of course, I turned in the fan card because I knew that the Dallas Cowboys fans would probably tell me to turn in the fan card. So, and I decided, what? I'm just going to pull out that keychain or whatever it's called, and happens to be Broncos. So, yeah, that's pretty much who I am going to be going with starting this offseason. And obviously, beyond that, way beyond that. Way beyond that. Now, with that said, and by the way, that will be official next week, so you'll probably see my cover photo change, and of course my PFP on my Discord change as well. Now, we got some news on the Pro Bowl. It was announced, of course, that several key starters will not be, or several players that were selected for the Pro Bowl will obviously not be going to the Pro Bowl because, they're getting ready to play in the Super Bowl. And some of the more notable ones, Donnie, I'll just read them off on the 49ers side. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, tight end George Kittle, offensive tackle Trent Williams, defensive end Nick Bosa, defensive lineman Javon Hargrave, linebacker Fred Warner, and cornerback Tavares Ward. They are all not going to Orlando for the Pro Bowl because they got other responsibilities. And the ones replacing those said starters, and also a few other ones. This is from the NFC side. Dak Prescott of the Cowboys, he's not going to Pro Bowl, and neither is Matthew Stafford. So, replacing Purdy is Jalen Hurts. Baker Mayfield is replacing Prescott, and Geno Smith of the Seahawks is replacing Stafford. And then Jahmyr Gibbs of the Lions is replacing McCaffrey in the running back slot. And then fullback side, CJ Ham of the Minnesota Vikings is replacing Juszczyk in the Pro Bowl. Let's see. Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions is replacing A.J. Brown. And DK Metcalf is replacing Mike Evans in wide receiver slot for the NFC. Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys is replacing George Kittle. Tristan Wirfs of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is replacing Trent Williams in tackle. Tyler Smith is replacing Zach Martin, ironically enough, teammates. Let's see. That is all in the NFC side on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, DeMarcus Lawrence of the Dallas Cowboys is replacing Nick Bosa. Kenny Clark of the Green Bay Packers is replacing Javon Hargrave. And then, let's see, inside middle linebacker Demario Davis of the Saints is replacing Fred Warner. Darius Slay of the Eagles at quarterback is replacing Charvarius Ward. And I believe that's it on the NFC side. We're going to pull up the AFC side. Here is the complete roster. And let's see. Gardner Minshew. It says TBA, but Gardner Minshew of the Colts is replacing Patrick Mahomes. Yep. Evan Ingram of the Jaguars is replacing Travis Kelce at tight end. Kevin Zeitler of the Ravens is replacing Joe Thorney at guard. And Ryan Kelly of the Indianapolis Colts is replacing Creed Humphrey at center. So that's your offensive side of the ball there. And then in interior lineman, DeForest Buckner of the Colts is replacing Chris Jones. And then, let's see, Jermaine Johnson, and this is not Super Bowl related, but Jermaine Johnson of the Jets is replacing Khalil Mack in the outside linebacker spot. So Khalil Mack is not going to be in the Pro Bowl this year. And that's it. So that's basically all of your roster changes, and a lot of them weren't really surprises because a lot of them involved replacing players who are going to be busy doing other things like the Super Bowl. But then you got Khalil Mack, who is not playing in the Pro Bowl for the AFC. And then you got Dak Prescott, who is not playing in the Pro Bowl for the NFC. Do any of those surprise you, Donnie, or what do you think?
Yeah. It appears you got who's not playing?
Besides the ones that are obviously busy with the Super Bowl, among the notable ones, Khalil Mack for the Chargers on the AFC side, and of course Dak Prescott of the Cowboys. Neither one of them is going to the Pro Bowl.
It could play effect because they're injured.
Yeah, that's a possibility. We don't know. Yeah. Although I don't believe that Prescott is injured, so I'm not sure why Prescott is not going to the Pro Bowl. But Khalil Mack, he could be hurt. He might have gotten hurt toward the end of the regular season, so he may not be at full goal strength for the Pro Bowl. So, Khalil Mack is a little bit more of an interesting case than I would say Dak Prescott in terms of, maybe the more shots ones not going to the Pro Bowl. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with Khalil Mack. And finally, for today, we will wrap this up here with this news. The Tennessee Titans is in the spotlight once again with the NCAA. And this time around, it's over NIL, name, image, and likeness. It is in the news again.
It's Tennessee Volunteers.
Yep. Tennessee is they're in the news along with NIL. And we also got news yesterday that the AGs from both Tennessee and Virginia are getting involved, and they're suing the NCAA over them investigating the University of Tennessee. So, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is regarding Nico Iamaleava. Definitely does not sound like an American name, but it's you got to have funny names just to get this kind of deal. But this, we don't know for sure how this is gonna go.
Yeah, it's early on in the it's early on in the investigation for sure, and obviously this will be something that we'll be keeping an eye on, of course, throughout the summer. But I think my initial thoughts are, I'm not surprised. The NCAA is trying to do everything they can to keep the amateur, keep that amateur status. But to me, I don't think it's going to work. I really think that college sports in general is basically going to become, like professional sports is. players are going to get paid through NIL deals. We're already seeing this often with the transfer portal. That's why you hear Donovan and I talk about the transfer portal so much, and we'll be talking a lot more about that again after spring ball season is done. It's the kind of stuff that is now, whether any of us likes it or not, it's mainstream. It's kind of like sports betting. Some people, they may not like sports betting necessarily, but there again, same thing with NIL. Whether we like it or not, it's mainstream. And that's basically what both of them are nowadays. They're both mainstream, and they're here to stay. And what's going to happen to the NCAA in 5-10 years, I don't know. But I don't think the NCAA is going to survive another 5-10 years. We'll see what happens. But honestly, Donnie, I don't see the NCAA surviving at least another 5-10 years.
Yikes.
Given the way NIL is going, and the way we're starting to unionize student athletes, things are not boding well for the NCAA. It's not. So I definitely think that this is a story that we're going to be keeping an eye on throughout the summer.
Lawsuits.
Do what?
They're leading to lawsuits.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like what I alluded to a little while ago, it's happening in with the University of Tennessee. With Tennessee and Virginia AGs going after the NCAA. It's happening all across the country with these lawsuits happening. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to see a lot more of those. And yeah, it's just sad to see it happen to college sports, because college sports is all about tradition and the pageantry. And it's what makes it unique compared to professional sports like the NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL. I'm afraid to say that, next 5-10 years, honestly, I think college football is going to be more like the NFL, and college basketball is going to be more like the NBA and the WNBA. I forgot to throw in the NBA. But I think if there's one thing smart that college basketball needs to do, especially on the men's side, they need to get rid of halves and go to quarters like what the NBA does. It already as it is, it drives me up the wall how often coaches slow the game down by calling multiple timeouts as it is. And then adding the fact that I must say this as a Sooner fan, I can barely watch any Sooner men's basketball games as it is, because most of the time it's over on ESPN Plus. So that's also one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to having OU in the SEC, because at least those ESPN Plus games is going to be probably SEC network games, but that's neither here nor there with basketball. But the bottom line is these coaches slow the game down by calling timeouts as it is, all the time. And then you add in the fact that the men's game, the women's game has changed, obviously, within the last 5-10 years. But the men's game, still to this day in 2024, are still doing 2 20-minute halves. 2 20-minute halves. Why are we still doing that in 2024? It's beyond me. but we shouldn't be doing that. We
The
should be
women
doing.
are in quarters.
Yeah, NBA does quarters. Women's, even a women's game now does quarters, which that has happened. Like I said, in the last 5-10 years, WNBA they do quarters as well. So why can't the men's game do the same thing? Oh, I don't know. Hanging on to tradition. That doesn't bode well now in 2024, and so. I think there's a lot of things that needs to change with the men's game, and basically that's one of the reasons why anymore I pay a lot more attention to the NBA and the NHL than I do the men's game, at least until when we get to March, and then once March rolls around, and then we get to the tournaments, that's when I start paying attention to the men's game. But before the tournaments, no, and it's because. A combination of a lot of factors. One, lack of accessibility for me to watch, especially OU men's basketball games, because they're always on ESPN Plus. And, the fact that, we're still playing 2 20-minute halves in 2024 when it should be 4 maybe 10-minute quarters. Something like that. I think that would be great for the men's game. So, of course, the NCAA is probably not going to change it, and I don't know why, but it's probably not going to change. And yeah, that is all I got to say about the way college basketball is and the way college sports is going. Some things I do like, and some things, in fact, I would like to see happen, like college basketball going to, men's college basketball going to quarters. But there's some things like, what's been going on with the NIL, all that stuff. Yeah, not so much. Anyways, that's going to do it for episode 0. Of the Chill Zone. This is just, I guess we'll call this just a preview show. It's next week's Super Bowl week. That's where things will really start taking off then. Thinking next week we may do a live show and add in some special guests. Make it maybe a 2-hour show, something like that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we will be talking about the Super Bowl, and I think we are going to do predictions for the Super Bowl. Is that it? Do we want to do that next week, Donnie, or no? For the Super Bowl.
Let's wait till next week.
Yeah. Obviously, next week, but yeah, we will definitely do that for sure next week, and Donnie and I will see you next week at the same time, Necroheads, and you can check it out here on YouTube. You can check it out on other platforms as well. Don't forget to check out Davin's Rocking Songs Stories as well on Spotify as well as other platforms. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week at the same time, Knuckleheads.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Uh-oh. Is my computer freezing up on me? Oh, you stupid thing. For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on America Online at keyword CBS News.